As children, in the process of in the preparation of sulfuric acid, vanadium pentoxide is used as a catalyst, and in the process of Haber's process, in the preparation of ammonia, iron is used as a catalyst. So here the catalytic activity of transition elements, why they are acting as a catalyst? Because due to their ability to exhibit variable oxidation state. As they are exhibiting variable oxidation state, when they are donating the electron, they can form the complex compounds, right? So when they are having variable oxidation state, they tend to form complex compounds. So this is one of the property to act as a catalyst, and the next one is a catalyst should provide surface area. So what the elements are using as a catalyst, they should provide a large surface area. And next, in the process, in the preparation of any product, when reactants undergoing any chemical change, this catalyst form an unstable intermediate compound. What they form? Unstable intermediate compound. By seeing this example, you can be understood clearly. So A when reacts with B, A plus B undergoes diffusion process. This is the catalyst. So as they are having surface area, they form a bond between A and B with this. Understand children, this is the catalyst and this is the reactant. So after the reaction, what we are getting? We are getting A and B. A product has been formed. So here whatever bond formed between this A and B with the catalyst is called, it is an unstable intermediate compound. So see this diagrammatic representation for a catalytic property. This is the structure of catalyst. Think I am taking an example. It is a catalyst when reacting with the reactant A plus B. Okay. This reactant diffused over the catalyst, then they form a bond between catalyst and this reactants. Okay, here a bond is formed. So the product which is formed here is an unstable intermediate compound. Here it is an unstable intermediate compound. Further more reaction, what happens? A, B, okay, A bonded with B, so we got the product here, and again we can get back this free catalyst. The catalyst we got at the last is called free catalyst. So here this catalyst can be used in another chemical reaction. So this is how a catalyst is a substance which can act as a good, which increase the rate of chemical reaction without undergoing any chemical change. First they have formed the bond which is nothing but an unstable intermediate compound has been formed, but at the last of the chemical reaction again we can get back the catalyst back. By seeing one example you can better understand. So look at here children, I am taking an iron as a catalyst. So iron ion act as a catalyst for the reaction between iodide and per disulfate ions. So here I have taken iodine, okay, iodide ion plus per disulfate ion, OH 2 minus. So this is the reaction which we are going to get I2, okay. So it got the electron plus 2 SO4 2 minus. So this is the sulfate. So we have to balance, this one is I. So this is the reaction which has been taken place in the presence of catalyst. So this reaction with the two steps, how the intermediate and how the product has been formed, we are going to see now. So look at here children. So first the iron reacts with iodide to form 2 iron plus. So here it is 3. Here by losing one electron it got again 2 plus it forms I2. So again 2 Fe2 plus this one S2OH 2 minus per disulfide ion. When both reacts it forms 2 Fe3 plus 2 SO4 2 minus. So at last again we got that catalyst and along with the sulfate ion. Understand children? So this is the two steps. In one step I have explained, and again after what happens to the intermediate means what happens to the catalyst and the product, how it is going to be formed, I have shown here. And next property is alloy formation, and the next property is alloy formation. What do you mean by alloy? An alloy is a intimate mixture of metals prepared by mixing the components, isn't it? So they are a mixture of components like metals or metal non-metals or metal with metalloids. So these alloys are formed by atoms with metallic radii within about 15% of each other, means it should have atomic radii within below the 15% of each other. For example, look at here, X when reacting with Y. So when X is reacting with Y, so X is an element, Y is also an element. In this, which one is having higher melting point should melt first, then the second one to combine these two to form a new substance. Understand? For example, X is having melting point 217, think so. For example, I said, and Y is having 180 degrees Celsius and X is having 270 degrees Celsius. Which one is having higher melting point? X. So X should be melt first, then Y. Then we have to go for Y. Then when both have melted, then we are going to mix and a new alloy is being formed. So here example, steel. So stainless steel we are saying, no, in that the main constituent of the steel is iron, and the alloying elements may be manganese, chromium, vanadium, tungsten, okay, molybdenum, etc. So this is about alloys. Alloys are nothing but it is an intimate mixture of metals prepared by mixing of components. And last property of this one is interstitial compounds. Interstitial, holes or a space. Okay, interstitial compounds are those which are formed when small atoms, okay, when small atoms like hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen are trapped in the holes or interstitial sides of the metal lattice. We have already seen what do you mean by metal lattice, okay, solid in a solid state lesson, in first lesson. So you will be having an idea about what do you mean by interstitial sites. So when in that metals, when hydrogen has been trapped, then hydrates will be formed. Okay, metal hydrates will be formed. So in a metal, when carbon is trapped, carbides will be formed. Metal carbides. If it is nitrogen has been trapped, then metal nitrides will be formed. So these hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen are trapped in the interstitial sides of an element. Okay, to form their respective structures, like see example, titanium carbide, vanadium hydride, titanium hydride, manganese nitride. Okay, these are the some example. So some principal and physical properties of interstitial compounds are, so when this interstitial elements, okay, these elements when combined with these metals, the metal will not lose their conductivity property. That means they retain their metallic conductivity. So as these are adding to the metal, normally metal will be having higher boiling point, and again these are adding to that. Okay, so when this and that, what happens to the metal point? Metal point will be higher than those of the pure metals. Interstitial compounds will have high melting point, okay, high melting point than those of the pure metals. And next, the property of a chemical reaction, okay, that means this interstitial compounds becomes chemically inert. That means the reactivity decreases. So look at here, what are the three properties, what are the three physical and chemical properties of interstitial compounds? They retain metallic conductivity. After adding this interstitial elements, means some elements like hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen also, their metallic conductivity will be remain. Next, they will be having high melting point than those of the pure metals, and next they are chemically inert. So these are the some properties of D and F block elements. The next class we are going to start coordinate compounds. Thank you, children.